With the NFL offseason being underway, it's that time of year where NFL fans, like myself, can finally stop screaming at their television for 3 hours every Sunday in hopes of their team getting a win. With the NFL Combine now being complete, it's time for NFL teams to lock in and solidify their pick in hopes that they can help move their team in the right direction. Welcome to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Michael Landis, joined alongside Ethan Ellis and Jackson Tortone, and we are here to deliver our mock drafts for the upcoming 2024 NFL Draft. While last year's draft provided fans with a highly entertaining first round with a quick run on quarterbacks in the top 5 picks, it seems that we may be in for another treat with this year's spectacular talents featured by Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., and more. While we are still over 6 weeks away from the big day in April, it's time that we get our first round of predictions out. Now, gentlemen, last year's draft definitely had some surprises, especially in those first 12 picks. 2 running backs were drafted. Ethan, I'm going to give it over to you first. I want to know who your most impactful players are, maybe most surprising in this draft, and maybe if you want to spice it up a little bit, a possible trade in your mock.
Right, so we're really not going to see that many running backs go in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if no running backs actually went in the first round, so complete opposite from last year. But this is one of the best quarterback draft classes we've seen in a while, and teams are going to take full advantage of it. I took the vanilla first overall pick, no spice whatsoever. Caleb Williams, he seems like the obvious choice for the Bears. Justin Fields seems like his time is somewhat done in Chicago. It's time for a fresh start for him. Marvin Harrison Jr. I have going second overall. I think Sam Howell is a decent choice for the Commanders at quarterback. I think pairing him with Marvin Harrison will only elevate his status in the NFL. Then I've got Jaden Daniels replacing Mac Jones now that Mac Jones is in Jacksonville. I think this is going to be the Patriots' new franchise quarterback, and who knows what levels he can take him to. Pick 5, that's where I have my trade coming in. The Denver Broncos trade up with the LA Chargers, and the Chargers really, they're a talented team. They don't need this high of a draft pick. They could afford to trade back some. The Broncos, however, are desperate for a quarterback after Russell Wilson left. They're going to draft their new franchise quarterback in Drake May. I've got a couple of offensive tackles, including Penn State's first pick going 7th overall. And then you've got a couple more quarterbacks going here later in the draft. Bo Nix I have going to the Jets just because Aaron Rodgers' time in the NFL overall I feel like is limited. I feel like if Bo Nix went there now, Aaron Rodgers could help develop him for the Jets in the long term. J.J. McCarthy goes to the Vikings to replace Kirk Cousins, new franchise quarterback in Minnesota. And Michael Penix Jr. helps get a little more depth for the Raiders at quarterback because I don't think Aiden O'Connell is going to be the answer there for much longer. Then if we go to the next slide, we can see the back half of the draft. I've got Steelers getting some offensive line built up to protect Russell Wilson now. Jackson Powers-Johnson, he's going to be the new center replacing Jason Kelce. Big shoes to fill there. It'll be interesting to see if he can do it. And then I've got another Penn Stater, Chop Robinson, going into that Bills defense. They lost a lot of defenders in free agency, so Chop Robinson's going to go help add a little more depth for them there.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan, I think a lot of your picks here have some really good value. I think specifically when you're looking at what teams lost, like your Chop Robinson pick, the Bills' defense was completely depleted. They need to refresh that defensive line, and that's a great pick for them in the late first round. Other than that, going back to your other ones, like with Jason Kelce, it's a great replacement for him. But going back up into your top 16 picks, your top 10, I saw some great things right there. Like you said, a little bit surprising about having Marvin Harrison go to the Commanders. A lot of people are questioning whether they're going to go the wide receiver route or take that quarterback and replace Howell and maybe make him the backup or move on from him. But overall, it's a good movement, and it seems like most of these teams are getting through there. The only one that spiced up, and you were right, was definitely Bo Nix to the Jets at 10. I will say, for Jets fans that I know, they may be in shambles if they take that pick, knowing that they need an offensive lineman. But for all the other ones, I think you hit it. The Jaguars are going to continue to build that core around Trevor Lawrence. Absolutely love that. And for the Steelers, like you said, build around Russ and try to let him cook. So Steelers Nation Forge.
Of course.
Now, Jackson, I want to swing it over to you, so I know you're very antsy to get it going.
Yes, of course. All right, so to the Chicago Bears, I would like the Maserati Marv to go over there. Here's why. Fields, his numbers don't reflect how good of a quarterback he really is. You see a lot of his receivers drop balls, and I think that he deserves one more year, a chance with a good wide receiver, a genuinely good wide receiver, the best in college football to throw to, and I think he can prove his potential with Chicago, and maybe they'll get a win against the green and yellow. Now, Commanders, Caleb Williams. Him not showing up to the combine, it rubbed me the wrong way. I think it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But he is still, on paper, the best quarterback in college football. Had a kind of a down year, but a very good overall college career. And so having him replace Sam Howell is more than likely the right move. And I say Commanders fans will be pretty happy with that. Maybe they won't like the attitude, but as far as the playing, they'll like it. Now, Jaden Daniels, again, a really good running threat. Already a pretty decent defense over there in New England, but I think that an increase in the offense will definitely make them more contenders. Maybe not, this upcoming year, but they can build on it for sure. And I would like to disagree with your Jets pick. I think that Fashanu to the Jets is the best move. Look, Rodgers, he's old, but he has a few more years left in him if he keeps his health up. And I think that they can get a quarterback later on, but they need to get Rodgers some protection so that way he doesn't get sacked and tear his Achilles again. So, Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Vikings. Vikings defense was a little bit weaker than you'd like it to be, and even after Kirk Cousins is headed over to Atlanta, I think that some improvement on the defensive side of the ball would be needed, and it would really help their chances playing against, the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings, or against the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions, who are going to be probably powerhouses again this upcoming year. And one more pick on this slide, I'd like to say J.J. McCarthy from Michigan going to the Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo, not it. I'm not buying, Mr. Purdue either. I think that J.J. McCarthy will perform better than either of them in Raiders outfit. And, yeah, I think that they can improve a lot with him. Next slide, please. Yes, so I'll actually start over here. This might be a little bit of wishful thinking for me, but newly hired defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley of the Green Bay Packers wants to run more blitz-style defense. And who better to do that than Chop Robinson? We saw it here at Penn State. This guy strikes fear at the line of scrimmage. And I think he can definitely help out that Green Bay Packers line of scrimmage defense. And so I would love to see him go there. Now, as far as some of these other important picks, I do like Cooper DeHaan from Iowa going to the Jaguars. Again, they have a pretty decent offense rolling right now. But what people forget is Iowa was not that good of a team, but their defense was absolutely excellent. And he was a big part of that. So improving the Jaguars' defensive side of the ball will make them even more contenders than they have been in the last couple years. So those are the most important ones here. And as far as trades go, I really can't predict. That's like the most unpredictable thing about the draft, honestly. I could see there being some business going on between Chicago and the Patriots just because Fields might want to play quarterback for the Patriots, and the Patriots could give away one of their picks, and you could see something there. And you could possibly see one between the Broncos and Cardinals where the Broncos would get the 4th pick in the first round. So that way they can get one of those quarterbacks, possibly Bo Nix, possibly McCarthy, possibly one of those guys. So that way they can build on the decent team they already have after Russell Wilson went over to Pittsburgh. So that's my overall feel for this draft.
Yeah, Jackson, I'm interested because you guys definitely had some different types of drafts. I'm interested in seeing the end of this and seeing how far Rome Odunze fell in yours, because Odunze is a projected top 10 pick. And now I know that a lot can happen, especially after the combine. A lot of different stories come out and teams kind of speculate in different ways. But I thought it was really interesting how in the top half you felt that the Vikings didn't need to go with a quarterback, which I thought was interesting because I don't think anybody's thinking of that. They're just thinking, oh, we just got rid of Kirk Cousins. We got to go after our guy. Mm-hmm. But no, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can keep stacking your team and keep building it in the right direction. It's not going to be a Super Bowl this year.
There has been talk about Fields going to Minnesota, and I think he'd be a much better fit there than he would be in Chicago because there's a certain JJ in Minnesota who he can throw to, and that'll make him look a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. And the potential moves that are there, I definitely think that with you guys talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. being in those top 2 picks, it's really depending on what the Bears decide to do. If they decide to go Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr., that will kind of change up, and whichever doesn't go will probably go to the Commanders in the best case scenario. But overall, I think you guys did a great job with these mock drafts, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they're going to be successful. With the NFL draft slowly getting closer, there's going to be more stories, interviews, and mock drafts about the 2024 class to come. That's going to do it for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. For Jackson Tortone and Ethan Ellis, I'm Michael Landis. Thank you, and have a great night, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.